What is up, guys? I am back to making videos. Today I have something light for you, just a couple putting games into our black starter deck Luffy. So I have been playtesting a lot of putting because I think that in this current meta, with a lot of control decks being the go-to, with stuff like Black being really strong, Bonnie being really strong, Nami being really strong, I think that only makes putting stronger. So I've been playtesting a lot, and this is a matchup you're probably going to see quite a little bit because a lot of people are on this starter deck, 14 Luffy. So here I am, turn 2, I just play down a pudding and I grab me a Katakuri. I go ahead and put 2 Dawn and I swing. What I like to try to do into Black Luffy, I go ahead and do the ramp. We can see there that I have a Katakuri on top. What I like to do into Black Luffy is I like to try to be aggressive on that first attack, maybe even as aggressive as I can on the first 2 attacks, because my goal is to chip some damage. Because essentially what happens is when they play Gecko, you might need to use an 8 cost Katakuri to put Gecko back on top of their life. And what you don't want to happen is you don't want to use like your Katakuris and your 9 cost moms to put stuff back on top of their life, and it puts you in a position where eventually they actually outgrind you because you keep healing them. So I like to try to chip some damage, get them down to at least like 3 life left. That way, like, I'm in a manageable state. I have 10 cost mom in my hand. My hand is perfect in my opinion. It's a really solid hand right now. He opts to not go for life because he essentially does not want me to be able to get the double ramp. But I go ahead and just ramp 1 and then swing, because the thing is a lot of people will try to play around that, but it actually somewhat is okay when they don't attack you and you can't get the double ramp. It also means they didn't take a life, and the truth is you're already ramping so high, and you do have 9 costs, you do have 8 costs in the deck, and so it makes it okay. Maybe you can't hit 10 costs on turn 4, but you're still dropping a pretty big bomb on turn 4. So it's kind of iffy. So I put him in a position now where he kind of has to remove that Katakuri. If he doesn't, then next turn I'm gonna get to play another big body plus swing 7 and 5 minimum. And I think that it's just like it starts to get very rough once Pudding gets a few big bodies down. The thing I think that really makes Pudding strong is that the fact is that Tin Mom is ran in this deck, but I feel like Tin Mom is ran more efficiently and faster in this deck than in like Katakuri. He just asks for an 11k swing, and this just to me means a pending doom for him. I have a Rocket Luffy on top of my life, which means that next time he hits me, I'm going to be able to trigger and KO that Brook. I'm just going to go ahead and go with a 6k swing, because we're essentially just going to swing for 6. And then I'm kind of eyeing up the Katakuri. I'm like, okay, I can play Katakuri, especially if I can chip in a little damage here, because next turn I can play Big Mom. So if I put Brook on top of his life, I can actually go ahead and just crit the Brook away when I drop 10 cost Mom. And now he's in a weird position, because Black now, what I've noticed is, like, when it comes to big bodies, they can remove like 1 big body with removal a turn, but trying to remove 2 is just so difficult. He does go for the Isho, which was incredibly good play, and he opts to not swing at me, which I thought was kind of weird, because the only thing that Rocket Luffy could trigger and KO would have been his little guy. So in my opinion, he should have swung 5 in my life. Then I go ahead and drop Ting Mom and heal. Look at that. I'm back up to 4 life. I have a 7k body, a 8k body, and a 12k body on board. This game is all but over because honestly there's not much you can do from this position. So the thing that I like about Pudding as well is Pudding's worst matchups are matchups that can go really aggressive. Zoro or Zuro, and then Reiju. Honestly, Reiju seems a lot simpler and a lot easier to overcome than the Zuro is. What I will say about Zoro is if you can survive their onslaught and manage their board, you just win the game on the crackback. You just have to be able to have enough combo power in your opening hand and stuff to kind of survive their early game pressure. because once you hit them, and then if you have like 1 or 2 10 cost moms, you just crit a couple lives, their hand size stays low, and then you just finish the game with your big bodies. So that's something for another video, but that is probably Pudding's worst matchup. That's why I want to kind of mention it so far in my testing. In all of my testing, all black decks seem manageable. Bonnie seems dang near free most of the time. And Nami is also pretty much free as long as you see 1 to 2 10 cost moms, because you start critting their triggers, and then you're just attacking so big that them milling their deck, they just can't do it fast enough. Obviously Nami can always high roll, but ordinarily you're probably winning, and then he just goes ahead and concedes. So here I am, game 2. This is a different black Luffy player. Same start. Pudding comes down. I chose to go first. Let's see what this guy has for me. I go ahead and I'm kind of looking like, you know what should I do? Like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and poke 5, because like what I said about being aggressive. Ooh, there's Capone. I want to be aggressive, so I want to poke, and then I want to poke again and see if he takes both. If he's in a position where he takes both, it's like, man, this game is mine. And he, for whatever reason, was in that position. I remember this play. He takes this hit and goes down to 3 life on turn 2. That is not where you want to be against Pudding. I'm thinking that maybe he thought the play was to go to 0 so that mom doesn't affect you, but that is just not the play. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not the play. Not for Black Luffy, where you need the game to go long. Now he's gonna swing 7. I was contemplating here because I'm like, Capone is really good in my life, even as a first life, because we can slow down aggression. But to be honest, I don't think that his deck can be aggressive enough for that to actually matter. So I go ahead, I do my ramp. I'm gonna get a double ramp, and I'm gonna get to swing for 6k. I have a we're gonna claim the One Piece is my top trigger, which means I just get to search, and I have no 10 cost moms in my hand, so that search is actually super like timed. I'm like, this is perfect. If he hits into my life, I can trigger and hopefully find a big mom. The dilemma he is here is like, he's not really in his late dawn turn yet, and he really needs to remove this Katakuri, because this Katakuri being a 7k and coming down on turn 3, that is just a lot of pressure, and it's so good. He does drop the Borsalino, and then he pokes for 5. You know, my mind, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna take this and try to resolve the trigger and get a big mom. I also have a big mom underneath it, so I'm actually okay if he wants to poke me it again and swing, because I'm gonna get that big mom. Also, it turns on the 2 aces in my hands. I can play down and have rush plus heal, and getting that maximum value is just so good. This is an easy mom and then crit a life, and then we're just gonna kind of poke in at his board. I poked here for 5 because he can get the free block with Borsalino, but then I get to swing 7 at his face. So that's why I was kind of like, you know, what are you gonna do? You know, are you gonna block out for free and save your weenie, or are you gonna let me then swing at Borsalino? But he ends up taking the first one, letting the character die, and then blocking and comboing out of the Borsalino anyways. So in reality, he actually could have free blocked, and then I could have just swung 7 at him, and he would have just comboed out anyways. So right here, he's faced with the dilemma of what do I do, because geckoing here is obviously the play that you want to make, but then you're not going to be able to apply a lot of pressure. And I now have a 10 cost mom and a Katakuri. And that's just tough, you know. So obviously he chooses to opt out of the gecko. He plays down a Sanji to go ahead and get rid of that Katakuri. 1 turn too late. I'm okay with it at this point, because now I have a 10 cost mom down. And so I'm like, yeah, taking the 7, no big deal. I do get the trigger, the Sanji trigger for the blocker, which is nuts. Go ahead and discard one of my aces, because I have, you know, 3. And now I get full value out of ace, and I get to swing a whole bunch. If he free blocks here, I can easily go 12k into the Borsalino if I wanted to. But to be honest, my mindset is more like, it's time to go for the throat. I smell blood in the water. It's like, it's time to wrap this up. So I'm going to swing for 5. He is going to free block. That's fine. I actually, I think it would be beneficial for him if I swung at his Borsellino. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to swing 5 at life with Sanji because you only have 5 cards in hand. So you're either going to die this turn or you're going to lose your whole hand. That's where my mind's at. Or you're just going to go to 0 and that's going to be that. But if he takes this, then I have a 10k swing and a 12k swing. So he's really trying to decide here, like, what do I want to do? If I remember correctly, he does 2k out of this, which is, you know, unfortunate that he had to burn a 2k and a 5k swing, but honestly, it's probably 100% needed. There comes the 2k. So now I'm like, okay, how do I want to do this? I can't kill him this turn. I can't end it, but I can still poke for 10 and then poke for 12. For me, I just ignored the Borsellino at this point because I have another Rush Ace in my hand, which means next turn, if he can't, he's basically like got to kill me. Otherwise, I just get to go absolutely nuts and swing 12, 10, 5, 5, 10. And with 1 blocker and 0 life, that would be game. So I don't remember what he did here, but we're going to find out. So I feel like personally that this kind of takes Gecko Moria off of the table. I don't think you can really Gecko, but we'll see what he chooses to do. He starts with a 7k leader swing. I'm just going to take it. I have enough combo power to get out of whatever attacks he throws at me. But the reason why I took that first one was, 1, to give him a hope. Maybe he just dawns up. He doesn't try to helmet. 2 was so that I could have ace, full value ace next turn if I need it. He goes ahead and swings with the Borsellino and then swings with the Sanji. This is the same thing as scooping. That is the game. Had enough combo to power it out. It was fun. I'm glad to be back from Bandai Fest. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.